everybody. Ren Carothers here for your Future Stars forecast on this two-year-old Tuesday. Sorry, I almost got a little tongue-tied there. So we are going from Fall Stars weekend at Keeneland because there was a lot of win and you're in action across the board, but also specifically for the Breeders' Cup Future Stars Friday program. And so we're going to look at the Fall Stars as they hope to get to Future Stars Friday. And my special guest, you saw him last week. I've had him on the show a few times. I'm bringing in the husband again because, you know, I am married to him, but I do still believe he is the best handicapper out there. Hey, Matt Carothers, how are you?
Good. It's turned into like you're Conan O'Brien and I'm Andy Richter. It's sort of it's.
I like it. Although I am very there's a giant height disparity between me and Conan O'Brien.
And you might be more the Andy Richter because on Celebrity Jeopardy he killed it, and you're very good at Jeopardy. So. Well,
thank you so much. I know I'm really dorky. Although why should intelligence be dorky, right?
Why shouldn't what?
Why should intelligence be dorky, right?
There's a lot of smart people that are dorky. That's not that uncommon, I don't think.
No, well, okay. Well, here's the thing: we were actually for at least one of these Fall Star days there at Keeneland, able to enjoy as fans. And so, although we started the day, much love to one of your best friends, and I'm talking about, well, we call him Carl.
Oh, okay.
But your friend Robert. So we started the day virtually attending his daughter's bat mitzvah.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably the only person walking into Keeneland with, watching a bat mitzvah taking place, and listening to the songs that they sing. That I don't think I'm alone, at least in. As somebody who was not of the Jewish faith, not really understanding what was being sung,
but I didn't understand either. But
it's beautiful, beautiful,
beautiful.
Kind of chanting type music I'm listening to from a bat mitzvah as we're walking out. I'm sure I was the only person doing that. Probably, you never know. Probably though.
Well, I thought it was I thought it was really neat. Obviously, being Middle Eastern myself. It's always nice. Ancient culture in particular has always been of great interest to me. So it was very cool to be able to watch that. And it was a beautiful ceremony. And
it was a lovely ceremony.
Yeah. And Tessie did a fabulous job. So big congratulations, Mazel Tov, right?
The Kellens, that's right.
Yes, to the Kellen family. But yeah, we were actually there with our daughter enjoying the races. And I'll get to a story toward the end about one of the great experiences of that day. But let's go ahead and first talk about the opening day for Fall Stars weekend. And I am talking about the Darley Alcibiades being a win and you're in for the juvenile fillies. Grade 1 race. Should we talk about the winner first, or should we watch the race and then come back and talk about the winner?
I guess we can show the race.
Okay, let's show the race first, and then we will discuss our winner. Do you want to discuss the race as it's run, or do you want us to just be quiet and go full screen with the replay?
I mean, we can just show the race and talk over it, because then we don't have to say as much afterwards, because then we kind of, you know what I'm saying?
There you go. Yes, I do. Okay, so here we go with the Darley Alcibiades Grade 1 winning you're in for the juvenile fillies.
And
they are at the post.
I would say, especially the first day and a half, speed was very good.
Yes.
At Keeneland. And Brad Cox had your two favorites in this race. And there's Juju's mapped on the inside right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing, and I think most of the audience watching this knows the result, right?
I think so, but
yeah, so I thought this was pretty good, because this is a filly that obviously is very, very fast. It just went wire to wire at Ellis Park, breaking her maiden, but showing the ability. It doesn't. I know she's second. But she's rating.
Yeah.
And from the inside, it's not that easy to do for a horse. So you break sharply. You can tell it. I thought Florent did a great job of getting her to settle a little bit because she was a little bit, oh, I want to go and I'm on the inside. And he got her to relax in this spot. And, you know, you're sitting behind a 15-1 shot, a horse that's supposed to back up. Dude, this is I think the Run Happy horse, run up on the lead, who
won the sorority, by the way.
Right, but she ends up running ninth, so she doesn't run for a long enough period of time. And now it's a match race between Brad Cox.
Yeah,
it's what Madeira and Juju's Map, and it looks like right now because Rosario comes up to the outside of Florent that we might have no one else behind doing anything. So maybe we have a great stretch duel. It ends up not unfolding that way. Is Juju's Map able to rate from the rail, put away her stablemate, who I believe was second choice in this race, and win comfortably? And I thought, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Keeneland guy, but sometimes these when you're in these big races, the figure, the result, yeah, it's a little disappointing. I don't think we had any of those this weekend. This was another really good performance. There was nothing really to not like here.
No, she won at will. She's a really beautiful filly. And I have to say big congratulations to friends of this show. She's owned by Aldal Family Stables, and part of that group is Jason Luch, who's been on the show a number of times. Dennis's Moment they've had some really good horses over the years. They bred Liam's Map. They not this time they had, and so again, big congratulations to them. As you said, trained by Brad Cox. You had Florent Giroux aboard. The official margin of victory, 4 1/4 lengths. This was following up. This was the third start of her career. She debuted originally at Ellis Park, sprinting 5 1/2 furlongs, a race in which she had finished second. But then she came back to break the main there at Ellis, stretched out to a mile by 5 3/4 lengths, notching an 80 Beyer. As for this race, the Beyer did come back in 84, the final time 1:43 and 52 100ths. As I already mentioned, Liam's Map, he's actually her sire. Liam's Map, again, bred by the Aldal Family Stable, and he, as you know, won the 2015 Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile in record time there at Keeneland, and is actually a half brother to Not This Time, who's off to, he's been doing some great stuff at Stud. And we actually have some comments. So I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I don't want anybody to think that we're just off in our own little world right here. You can participate in this show if you have a question, if you have a comment. Laura asking, we won't get too off base here. She is asking real quick, because I think we can answer this in pretty short order. What did you all think of Letrusca? I mean, I'm pretty freaking impressed.
I mean, we knew she was great going in. I mean, she did what we thought she would do. I mean, I don't think it was, her bar is so high now that it was kind of routine, which I think is the ultimate compliment. When you put forth an effort like that and you consider it, I mean, I think that's it's Ted Williams going 3 for 5 with 2 singles and a double. I didn't go deep. I mean, it's kind of what you expect from, right? What was the Beyer, 102? I mean, it
was something like that.
She's just faster than everybody. That's the thing. People always say, why doesn't anybody run with her? Because they can't.
They can't.
With her, it's the answer. They can't. In a 2-turn race, especially 9 furlongs further, they can't.
Right.
They can try, but they won't succeed.
Well, yeah, and how many grade 1s is that now? I mean, it's a lot. And
I think it was her. This is off the top of my head. I don't
have the PPs right in front of me, but I know that she's already racked up quite a few.
It was her 6th or 7th different track she ran this year. At least her 6th different track.
Yeah.
This year.
And it's like you said. I mean, who are we talking to? Because they also said this as well. I mean, and you basically touched upon it just now, but. Yeah, you go with her, you get chewed up, you get spat out. You let her go, she's gone. So what?
But also, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I don't. It's people say, oh, why don't somebody? I mean, fine. I don't think you can. I just don't think, unless some sprinter shows up that is stretching out that can't win to be. But I don't think these horses have the gate speed to do it if they want to.
Yeah. Wayne Harrison saying Wayne Harrison here, the second the Dewhurst Dubawi legend meant to be coming over. That's very exciting. Also mentioned about how, hi Ren, I did tell you and Matt about Inspiral a few weeks ago. Inspiral is a super exciting horse. I don't know if there's any intention for her to come on over, but we just saw her continue to add to her impressive resume already, winning the Phillies Mile Group 1 race over across the pond. So yeah, awesome horse. Hey guys, excited for all this petty geekiness for BC. I'm Turf Witch on Twitter. Yes, Kelly. Yes. You're awesome. So yeah, talking about petty geekiness, to get right back to talking about Juju's map. She, again, by Liam's map, and I already went over the fact that he's a Breeders' Cup champion. The dam here is named Nagambi by Flatter. I think something that people often forget regarding Flatter is he is actually a full brother to Congrats. And, I think it's nice that the boys have had such stud. Now, the mom, she's also a half-sister to a Grade 1 winner named Fault. You remember her, right?
I do.
Yeah, she won a trio of graded stakes races to close out her career, including the Santa Margarita. And then the second dam, who would be her maternal grandmother, well, that is Charming and Lovable. And that horse is actually a half-sister to Lafina. And if that name sort of rings your bell, it's not because of anything she did necessarily as a racehorse, but it's because Lafina is the dam of Bast.
Oh.
And yeah, Bast won the 2019 Grade 1.
2-year-old.
Yeah, Grade 1 Del Mar debutante. She won the Chandelier. She won the Grade 1 Starlet. And that was after she had run third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. And additionally, at 3 years old, Bass did win the Santa Ynez Stakes. So it's a really nice pedigree. Again, talking about Juju's map, winner of your Grade 1, Darley Alcibiades, a win and you're in for the Juvenile Fillies. My question to you, watching this performance and knowing that a horse like Echo Zulu, a monster like Echo Zulu who has speed, is going to be waiting for her, what do you make of the scenario? And we also saw the filly out west with some speed as well. And I gotta.
No, I can't think of her name either.
I know. I'm like, oh wait a second. I'm gonna look it up right now. We talk about so many horses, and they're all new because they're babies.
Yeah.
So it's not like these names are the ones that we have right there in the Rolodex.
They're not household, no.
Not yet. But that's what we hope the Future Stars program provides people, is the showcase of the horses who will be household names next year.
Well, I mean, I just answered your question. I think that Brad Cox knows these trainers, Brad Cox knows who he has to beat.
Yeah.
Come Breeders' Cup, he probably has. He respects everyone, but you have you have 2 or 3 kind of circled, and he knows what Echo Zulu does, and he knows he's not as fast. So you gotta hope that either she goes too quickly or somebody else runs with her, because I think that's why they didn't send from the rail in this race.
Just get her to kind of rate. And
I think. You win a Grade 1 by open lengths, you finish powerfully, but at the same time, you get educated too, a little bit. So I think that was obviously the intent going in, even though she's fast, was to have her, and it worked out that the 12 horse, went, and that she was able to rate in second.
Yes, no, I agree, and as you said, just making sure you get that education, because you don't know until they do it on race day if they will willingly just calm down and rate behind another horse and bide their time. And that's one of the things that is so important, especially with any racehorse, but particularly with these young ones, the ones who have that mental acuity that are smarter, they're more intelligent, they're better able to be that compliant with the rider. And I'm just trying to look up. Yes. Oh yeah, you've got Hidden Connection, who won the Pocahontas at Churchill. Then as far as
by a mile.
Daughter of Connect, freshman sire. Representing that first crop of his. He's over there at Lane's End. A son of Curlin. Let's see here. I'm just trying to figure out who won Ain't Easy in the Chandelier.
Right.
It was not easy for me to remember for some reason. But yes, Ain't Easy in the Chandelier. So we're seeing the field kind of come together. And but right now, I think we all agree that Echo Zulu is the one to beat.
Yeah, but before we move on, there's the last 2 things I'll say are,
Sure,
the ability to rate from the rail too. I think that makes it even more probably pleasing to Brad Cox that she was able to rate. It's a lot easier, obviously, to rate. You draw the 9-hole than if you draw the rail. So I think that really probably showed him something. So if she draws outside in the Breeders' Cup, that'd be even better for her. And the other thing is, on the top of my head, it's not like I memorized the field sizes, but I'm guessing there hasn't been one of these big races. You mentioned the Chandelier. I mean, this was a Breeders' Cup type field in terms of size. I mean, you had a full field in this race, which obviously is what you're going to see at Del Mar, where some of these other fillies, I don't think they're seeing fields nearly as big in their final preps.
It's a 7-horse field in the Chandelier.
There you go.
And just going back on up for the Pocahontas, it looks like we had a field 10. So, okay, now let's move along, and we're going to talk about the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity Grade 1 race when you're in for the TVG Juvenile, presented by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. And last year's Breeders' Cup TVG Juvenile winner, Essential Quality, won this race. He got his ticket stamped there. So let's go ahead. We'll take a look, and we'll talk about your winner and thoughts on the other side. Well, actually, we'll talk about the race too. Let's see here.
First wire, they are at the post.
I don't think the winner broke that great, right?
No, he did not.
And they're off to the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity. There goes Great Escape for Between Horses. Classic Causeway fires out. Mr. Boma.
Classic Causeway, owned by a very big personality who we were actually hanging out with after this race.
Causeway gets to the rail, leads it by a length. Stellar Tap goes second.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to when they're the same, these stakes races, the same.
Yeah, I know the same saddles. I know they're all the number 4.
It makes it really.
They're all the 4-horse.
Yeah, it makes it so much harder for me to follow where they are, these big fields.
Yeah, I understand.
I
Believe
mean,
me.
I give Kurt Becker all the credit in the world. Any of these track announcers that can do this like it's no problem.
Yeah.
Too hard for me. I can barely watch it and know where they are, much less have to call the race. So where's your winner right now? Your winner?
Well, your winner is going to be the number 6 horse, Rattle and Roll. So he's about mid-pack right now. You can see right there with the black and red silks, he's starting to get his nose tilted out to the outside by BJ Hernandez, who's now asking him for run. You can see him moving, Rattle and Roll. Indeed, he is rolling here.
Yeah, that's your favorite on the lead. Yeah, Classic Causeway, who you mentioned. And he went 22 and change, right? 22 and 4 or something like. What are the fractions here? He went too fast. 22 and 4, 46 and 3.
Yes.
And he's tired. So this is a race that obviously benefited horses towards the back of the pack. And this was kind of the exact same way that he won broke his maiden at Churchill, right? It was,
Yeah.
I mean, more impressive, of course, because it's a grade 1, but he did in the exact same manner. It doesn't sound like it when a trainer. I mean, you're the one who gave me the information for this. I saw this and you put it right in front of me. I'm not going to commit yet, McPeak said. My first instinct is to wait for the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club on November 27th. The Breeders' Cup is an away game, and I know he likes Churchill a lot. So
Yeah, so it does not.
that's not a no, but that's close to a no.
Correct. I would say that. But we still, I feel, would have be remiss not to discuss him at least a little bit, considering he did win the Win in Your In. So they do have that option. As you were mentioning, he did break his maiden there in start number 3 at Churchill Downs, going the mile on the 16th. And this was a pretty big figure jump for him. He went from a 69 in that 3-length score to putting up an 81 buyer. Final time 143 and 78/100.
Right. Here you go on. I'm water boy right now. I'll be
water boy. So
I'm like Adam Sandler here.
Our daughter needs to stay hydrated, but I'd already mentioned Hidden Connection, who won the Pocahontas, our daughter Connect. Ava. And so here we actually have a son of Connect getting that win annual in ticket to Future Stars Friday. And as I already went over, Connect himself, a son of Curlin. Connect, over the course of his racing career, he won the Grade 1 Cigar Mile. He won the Grade 2 Penn Derby. He won his father's namesake stakes race for Curlin. So I think that's pretty cool. And he stands over there at Lanes End Farm, a beautiful horse. I've been around him a couple times now, and he's a really, really nice specimen. But as Matt already went over, Kenny McPeak not committing to actually going to Del Mar, maybe instead looking to keep him here in Kentucky and pointing toward the Kentucky Jockey Club on November 27th. I will say, though, if you are curious anymore about the pedigree beyond just the sire, the broodmare sire, Johannesburg, I always love when you see Johannesburg in a pedigree because he was just so talented, undefeated at 2 years old. He was dominating over in Europe. They brought him over and were like, hey, let's try him on the dirt in the juvenile. And he won. This was back in 2001. So he was Eclipse champion 2-year-old here. And then he also was champion 2-year-old over there as well. So, and we know what he's done as a sire. I mean, he's left us a great sire line. Well, I mean, he hails from a very great sire line anyway, but he himself sired Scat Daddy, sired Justify, a Triple Crown champion. So love Johannesburg. And then as far as the female family, it includes Grade 1 winners like Another Review, who won the Californian, No Review, who won the Santa Barbara, and Cavorting, a multi-millionaire. She won the Test, the Ogden Phipps, the Personal Ensign. Very nice.
And she was really good.
Yeah, she was really, really nice. Let's see here. Dustin! Hi, Dustin. Dad duty calls. Yes, he had to get our child some water. And then Kelly is saying that Connect Colt should want more ground. He will be interesting come Derby time if he stays healthy. Yeah, I agree. And, he looks like a big horse to me. I like the way he flicks those legs out. He's got a nice stride on him. And we know, the funny thing is also Kenny McPeak is the one who discovered Curlin. He picked him up for a steal at the sale. And we all know what he's become, what he became as a racehorse Hall of Famer, and now as a sire. So
how about the sapling looks like a decent race because Double Thunder.
I don't have that queued up, but go ahead.
No. I was going to say Double Thunder was second. He won the sapling, and American Sanctuary was fourth at a huge price, and he came out of that race too.
Yeah, no, for sure. Best gambler in the game. Fact. Corniche, still the one to beat for me with the Del Mar win. I agree. I mean, when you could put up, what was it, a 98 buyer on debut, and then you win the Grade 1 American Pharoah at will, and then you're by Quality Road, and you're out of Wasted Tears by Nadran, and so Nadran could set a record, or nearly rather equaled the track record of Dr. Fager for a mile. I mean, Nadran was fast too, but Dr. Fager was carrying 134 pounds when he did it. World record again for a mile. But yeah, he's got a great pedigree also. He's definitely looking to be the one to beat. Let's see. I'm just making sure the horse that won the Vosburg looked good. You're talking about Following Sea. Yeah, Following Sea, Son of Run Happy. I love that. And for Todd Pletcher.
It was a tiny field, though, wasn't it? I mean,
it was a very small field. It was, but he's been kind of knocking at the door. I can't remember exactly. Was he second in the Haskell and third in the Travers, or was it flip-flop? Third in the Haskell, second in the Travers. I can't remember either. I would have to go back and look. But he's a horse that's been knocking at the door there. Kelly, agree. Corniche a beast. Dustin saying Echo Zulu. Corniche will be a great matchup. Oh, he wants to see the filly against the boy.
Match race, maybe.
So that was Rattle Roll, trained by Kenny McPeak, owned by Lucky 7 Stable, bred by St. Simon Place. You had BJ Hernandez aboard. And you know what? I did not give a shout out to the breeder of Juju Time, or Juju's Map rather. she was bred by Fred W. Bushridge, who obviously has been very influential in the work he's done for Breeders' Cup as well. So that's really cool to see.
That is cool.
There. So Juju's Map, we already went over her win in the Darley Alcibiades. Again, I just felt like I should give a shout out to the breeder because I've somehow skipped that there. And we just watched the replay of the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity, winning your in for the TVG Juvenile, presented by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, in which we saw Rattle and roll on to a very impressive win, making a huge bump in figure from a 69 to an 81. But again, we do not know that he's going to come on over. Now, as far as like geeking out over pedigrees and pedigrees that in particular have Breeders' Cup ped cred, we gotta talk about the Castle and Key Bourbon Stakes winner, Grade 2 race, winning your in for the juvenile turf. Because my gosh, that pedigree is just Breeders' Cup winner, Breeders' Cup winner, Breeders' Cup winner, Breeders' Cup family. I'll discuss more after we watch the replay. And I will tell you that the turf here listed as good, all right? So when you watch that, obviously, just a small thing to take into consideration. Might not be a huge, between firm and good on a given day, right?
Yeah, and it hadn't rained since Thursday in Lexington. This is Sunday. So, I mean, it was sunny and warm Friday, sunny and warm Saturday, sunny and warm for this race on Sunday. The horse I liked was Heaven Street, who ended up beating two horses in here. She finished 12th, but she went to the lead in this race, like I thought. And Speed had been doing pretty well this turf course, but you see, she goes to the lead here, and they're just flying up front. They're going very quickly, on the lead. So again, it's the thing that I liked about the winner here, which is that the ability to not be that far off of this, really, because she's fourth right now. Look how strung up they are early on. You would think the winner might be one of the ones towards the back. The winner's sitting in fourth right now, with Brian Hernandez
again, and Kenny McPeak again.
Yeah, so that off the top again, you gave me your PPs, but I'm looking at the chart right now. I think she won a race.
Boy.
I think he won his debut wire to wire. Then he won from the clouds at Kentucky Downs, I think. And then he wins here from basically stalking. He's already won. How many horses this early in their career have already won on the lead from well up the pace and stalking?
Exactly. It's the versatility is shown in style. Yeah.
But this move he makes into this pace here. And again, the horse on the lead that I like won 12th. So this was Stolen Base comes out of the clouds to run second. Everyone from behind is doing well except for the winner.
And he's on the wrong lead right here. He's on the
yeah,
the correct one.
There you go, boom. And you pull off a horse that was second to last early, which is where it was a good spot. That was an easy win. That was an impressive, another really strong victory, I thought, from Tiz the Bomb.
Tiz the Bomb, indeed. So, yeah, here's the thing with him. As you already went over that race record, he originally debuted at Churchill Downs. That was a 5 furlong sprint. He was 7th. It was a learning experience. It was on dirt. Ellis Park, his turf race comes off. And, he's still favored in there. It was a 6-horse field, granted, after scratches. Dominates by 14 1/4 lengths. Has a little bit of time. Comes back in September at Kentucky Downs. That, you want to use the word? Use the word.
Oh, my favorite, undulating. Yeah.
The undulating turf course in the Kentucky Downs.
Not used enough.
No. And as you said, we've seen such a dynamic style in which this horse is shown on track already. And I mean, my goodness, the pedigree though, that's what I really want to talk about, because your boy Hit It a Bomb won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf in 2015. He's out of Tiz the Key, who's by Tiz now, the only horse to win the Breeders' Cup Classic twice. The second dam is grandmother, maternal grandmother. She's a daughter of AP Indy, another Hall of Famer, another Breeders' Cup Classic winner. And not only that, the female family itself, the tail female family, this is the family responsible for producing AP Indy. So I'm like, well, if you want, that's why I tweeted it out a couple days ago after the race. I was like, well, if you want Breeders' Cup pedigree, there you go. Right? And as far as the connections go, again, here we see Kenny McPeak teamed up with Brian Hernandez. This is for Phoenix Thoroughbred owner, bred by Spendthrift Farm, and a very, very nice colt. I think he's the type that looks to me to only get better because he looks like he's kind of big. And I would think if he's already showing this type of ability now, he could only get better as he continues to grow into himself. And we saw right there, I mean, he didn't even change his lead till late in stretch. So think of how much further that margin of victory may have been if he had changed it sooner.
And, not only is he winning, in totally different manners, he just went back to back in his only 2 turf starts over completely different grass courses also.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you go from Kentucky Downs and then to Keeneland. You close from a little bit further off at Kentucky Downs. You sit just off a pace, which is hot at Keeneland. Different styles, completely different courses. He's they try to get him on grass. The 5 furlong dirt sprint was just, all right, let's just get a race in him and then put him on grass and stretch him out. And it didn't work out at Ellis in terms of the turf. It came off. They kept him in the race. He won by 1 million. Wire to wire. He's just so much better than that group that he was able to get the lead and go wire to wire. But at his best, he's a horse that likes to sit off a little bit. And, he's, I'll use my first racing cliche. He's very handy. It looks like.
Now, what do you think about the cut? Well, he's going to be cutting back to the mile in the juvenile turf at Del Mar. And I was talking to Mike Smith yesterday. So something we're doing with ABR, and he was talking. I was asking him, do you have any, angles for bettors that maybe we should take into greater consideration when we're looking at races?
Yeah, what does he know?
And he was saying, in particular with the turf course, you have shorter stretch, so you really want to be sure you're in position there. And like I said, you're going to be cutting back. As you said, they did originally try this horse with a 5 furlong sprint to start off, but. What do you think? I mean, we also have potential Euros coming in, and it's hard to project because it's really hard to know when there's not a set field and you can really look at all the data.
I mean, from my standpoint, it means 0. I mean, he seems like he doesn't. It's just if he loses, he's not good enough. Probably. I mean, I don't think it was a mile. I don't think he'd be better if it was a mile and a 16th necessarily. In the juvenile turf at Del Mar as opposed to a mile. I'll spend 0 time looking at that. I'll just decide whether I think he's good enough to win the race at some point. But I like the fact that Brian Hernandez knows that this horse can, whatever I want him to do, he can do it effectively. If I feel like they're flying up front, I can draw back. This horse, you have options with this horse. So the way the race unfolds early on will dictate his decision. He's not going to be forced to do something that maybe he doesn't want to do once it starts happening because he knows that's what that horse, the only thing he can do. This horse can change things on the fly, which is great for a jockey. You never know exactly how a race is going to play out. So to be able to have the ability to improvise with a horse is unbelievably vital.
For sure. You talk about just hearing, Brian's name. I can't help it, in combination as we're talking about Breeders' Cup, I can't help but think back to Fort Larned in the Classic.
It's one of the great it's maybe the most underrated Breeders' Cup race ever.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, that was a truly great horse race.
I wanted a lot of myself so hard because I had played. That's when I had played that like El Cheapo, beyond cheap pick 6 ticket. And I had 4 of my 6 picks hit. And where I missed was in the Classic. And I can't remember. I think it might have been the
Trinniberg. I don't think you had Trinniberg.
I didn't have Trinniberg. No, right. I had the Lumberman. And then I had,
you had Little Mike.
Well, yes, I did have Little Mike. It was a 1301. I can't remember. But with the Classic, the reason I especially wanted to kick myself for not using Fort Larned is that he was trained at Lamb Home South. How do I not use a horse
right.
trained by my friends at Lamb Home South? I was so mad because at least then, if I had that, I would have had the Consolation 5.
Right, which I'm It should have paid well. There were prices that day. It's Breeders' Cup. So,
Oh, I wanted to cry. Anyway, let's see here. Isn't there a big race tomorrow for the 2-year-old fillies on turf? Yes, the J.P. Morgan Chase Jessamine Stakes, a win and you're in for the juvenile fillies turf. You are correct. And Mike's actually flying in. He's going to be riding Diamond Wow, who was scratched out of the Darley Alcibiades, and she's running there. And let's see here. Echo Zulu versus Juju Map is going to be a race. Both of them can run. Yeah, and we have some, again, other nice fillies too, like In Easy, In Connection. Going to be very exciting. Let's see here. Jeffrey, is this what it's like at home for you, Matt? Talking horses all the time, maybe? And
we talk a lot of shop, I guess, but not we don't go crazy. I don't think.
We definitely do not like. We don't. You might ask me about something pedigree related, but like you do your work, I do my work, and then we might confer if we're playing something together.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Let's see here.
I'm not even forget to ask you, and if I'm looking at Woodbine, I actually go online to see who you like, and I live with you. I mean, literally.
Thank you. I'm being a little lukewarm the past couple race days. If Tenor Brism gets the mile and comes over from Europe, the rest are playing for second place in juvenile fillies.
I can't do that.
She's a, if I remember right, she's a Caravaggio, and she is ultra talented.
Well, usually that's the case, though, isn't it? I mean,
well, Caravaggio, this is just like his freshman crop, and
no, but I mean, usually it's nothing.
Yeah, it's tough. If they have a Euro who's like been running to beat those horses over there that they've good enough to bring here, yeah.
Unless Chad Brown has a real good 2-year-old turf horse, that's the exception.
I still laugh with that. We got 5-1 on Structor. I don't remember what the off odds were exactly. I think he still held a price in the juvenile turf. But yeah, he was installed at
so I love Breeders' Cup.
You would think. Yeah, exactly. That's part of the beauty of it. Let's see here. Laura Elizabeth, super fave in the distaff. I think she's good enough to beat the boys in the classic. Wow, that's high praise. I mean, that classic's going to be salty. Oh, man, that's going to be salty.
I mean, I love it when the fillies, mares in this case, take a shot against the boys, but it doesn't make sense here. The classic I think it looks extra loaded this year. So usually, not always, usually you'll see a filly or a mare take on the boys if it's a subpar year for the males in that category, right? Is that fair? I mean, I think that's fair. And that's not the case this year. And then what is her running style? It's the same as the top horses that are, odds wise outside of essential quality in the classic. I mean, she can't, as good as she is, I don't know if she can handle Nick's Go and horses like that on the front end. It's just, I think it would be a little overwhelming for her, especially at 1.25 miles. So, but I love her, but it's not a knock on her. I think, do you want to be, 20-1 in the classic, or do you want to be odds on in the distaff?
Yeah, no, right. No, I think you have to be pretty much like just absolutely crushing your gender to then go in against the boys in the Breeders' Cup.
Well, she is, but the problem is,
I mean, like just like great, one of the greatest of all time types.
But the problem is,
there's a reason only that Zenyatta is still the only female to have won the classic.
Right, the older male. I want to say handicap division, but it's really not anymore. So the older male dirt division is really good. And this isn't Letrusca's fault, but the distaff division now with Monomo, I mean, it's not really that good, is it?
I mean,
it's not.
Well, I will say this. I just out of curiosity, when we're talking about like the speed we're kind of projecting is what we'll see in the Breeders' Cup Classic. When you do have a horse who's as talented as Nick's Go, and he's got that foot, but he wants the lead, do you still go ahead and say, let's go ahead and try him in the Classic, where there's a chance you don't make it all the way because you're gonna potentially be hooked and cooked potentially. Or do you go say, you know what, we know we could probably much dominate in the dirt mile?
They're going to go Classic. I mean, they've already won the dirt mile.
Yeah.
Not that it's not an important race, but they've won it, and they're either going to be favored or second choice in the Classic. You don't not run in the Classic if you're going to be favored. I think Essential.
Right.
A lot of people think Nick Skull will be favored. I don't know, just because of the running style. I think Essential Quality's got a lot of play because everyone's going to play him from off the pace. But he's going to be first or second choice. If you're first or second choice in the Classic, that's the race you go in.
Well, actually, I'm going to save it for the special. So
okay.
I don't know if they're going to use it or not. Well, they're going to edit some stuff that I interviewed Mike Smith yesterday, and they're editing it together. So maybe there may be something Classic related you should listen to if it's used in that clip. And if it's not, maybe I'll tweet it out. But so okay. Talking about going back to talking about our juveniles, and we were just wrapping up talking about our Castle and Key Bourbon Stakes winner, and that's Tis the Bomb. I want to say that back. Tis the Bomb, right? Have fun with it.
That works.
Gosh, can you think of all the headlines? You could have so much fun with this horse's name. I will say, just to wrap up the specifics. Official margin of victory, 3/4 of a length. Time was 1:43, 69/100 to make it specific. 74 buyer. There's always room to go forward. Okay, now let's talk about a horse who, I think she just like blew the doors off. Undefeated. Taking on the boys in the Indian Summer Stakes when you're in for the juvenile turf sprint. I'm talking about Avery Jane. Let's watch this race. What an impressive filly.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, I watched it like a lot of the viewers. I watched this race live, and just watch how easily she gets the lead without trying. That's the thing. Look at the 7 here. Look at. Look at Gaffleone. There's no effort at all. Usually against this type of field at this distance with other speed signed on, to be in this position this early, you have to work to get there.
Yeah.
She'd have to do anything to get to that spot. So at this point in the race, if you've watched just a few races in your life, you know something unforeseen has to happen for her to lose, because without trying or expending any sort of effort, she's clear.
Yeah.
Now start looking at the hands of the riders. And this is, I'll use racing cliche number 2, glorified workout. This is, they set a stakes record, and I don't know if he might show her the stick. Or does he ever? He doesn't even show it, does he?
I don't think he does.
No, he never even turned it over. Look at him here. It's like a statue late. A peak. It's impossible to win a race easier than that.
I seriously.
0.65 seconds, a stakes record.
You know how competitive she is even after the race.
Yeah.
It's.
And this is, and also take in consideration when you're watching this too. Again, this race open to either gender, it doesn't matter. And sorry, Scott Hazelton, I'm gonna close you out. I'm sorry. Okay. But she's only actually been in a filly restricted race once, and that was on debut, in which she won by 8 3/4 lengths, bridging 4.5 furlongs. Then she was on a sloppy seal track at Churchill Downs in the Kentucky Juvenile. She won that by 3 1/4 lengths. Then at Saratoga, Skidmore came off the grass, 5.5 furlong, turf sprint usually. But like I said, off the grass, she still dominates the boys. 7 1/4 lengths was the margin of victory there on both those, the Kentucky Juvenile and the Skidmore under Tyler Gaffleone. Her debut was under Rosario. She picked up an 86 buyer in that race. So here the blinkers come off. She gets on the grass, which they were trying to put her on in the first, put her on there in the Skidmore. and she just dominates. She dominates. I'm actually surprised. The buyer here at 86, the final time, 102.65 100s. I thought maybe it would be a higher buyer, but still, she did it so easily. I mean, if they wanted to win in a faster time by even a further margin, they could have done it. What a tremendously talented filly. She is by 2008's juvenile champ, Midshipman. And another thing that we can mention with Midshipman is also the sire of Lady Shipman, who was second in the 2015 juvenile sprint, or not juvenile sprint, sorry, the turf sprint, which she went on to produce as a dam, our juvenile turf sprint champ in Golden Pal, who we'll talk about in just a minute also. Well, actually a little bit later. But so Midshipman, bottom line, really good influence there. And Midshipman himself, a son of a Breeders' Cup champ in 1995's juvenile winner, Unbridled Song, who Mike Smith rode, by the way. And then the broodmare sire here, Richter Scale.
He was lightning fast.
He was fast.
Dirt sprinter, but he was really fast.
Grade 1 sprinter. I mean, he put up, I don't even know how many triple-digit buyers over the course of his career. Female family here, responsible for producing the likes of Group 1 Dewhurst winner Mujahid. He won it, back in the day. Family also includes Acapella, who was just champion 2-year-old and 3-year-old in Panama. But you also have in here a couple of Grade 1 other Grade 1 winners in Gradar. He won the Dawn. You got Ron the Greek in there. You also have another Millionaire and Musket Man in the family. So really great family. And here's what's also fun. Okay, she's owned by Hat Creek Racing. Again, ridden by Tyler Gaffleone. Trained by Wesley Ward, who also trains Golden Pal. And she's bred by the University of Kentucky. How fun is that? How do you think they celebrated a day at the races?
So like whatever 30,000 people that go to Kentucky, they're all involved with Avery Jane. That's incredible. Wow.
Can you imagine?
That's neat.
Yeah, I think it's so great. She didn't pay you anything if you bet her, but who cares? I'm actually, to be fair, I'm actually surprised that she even you got $1.80 on top of your $2 wager. So I'm even surprised you got that, to be honest with you. I believe that is her stablemate Coffee Maker in second under Arad Ortiz Jr.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's great. Also going to give a shout out to our 4th place runner in there. That's Detroit City, trained by a friend of ours or yours, but I'm going to be interviewing him for something. So I'm going to, already put the friendship out there, and I'm talking about Jack Sisterson. And
he told me that his horse was going to run well, and nothing against the two that finished in front of him. You could argue he was second best because he was 2 necks away from second, and he was chasing Avery Jane, where the others were kind of further behind and able to get by him late because she kind of, she obviously broke the hearts of the horses that were chasing her early on a little bit.
That's a good way of putting it. She did.
But Detroit City ran
I'm
really
from Michigan. I'm from Michigan. I can go with that name.
Detroit City ran really well at a big price. So, I mean, the last things I'll say about this are amazing to show that kind of gate speed without trying, without blinkers for the first time, and on a surface, you're bred to handle, but you'd never been on before. I don't know what's out there in Europe, or it's not like I've analyzed, I even have a good idea of who's gonna run in the juvenile turf sprint, but I can't imagine there's anybody who can hang with this horse early.
No, I mean, I don't think we've had Perfect Power win a couple of winning your ins for the juvenile turf sprint, like multiple ones. But I don't think he's coming over. So Avery Jane, she's done nothing wrong. She's now a dual surface winner. And actually, you could say I would consider a sloppy steel track a surface all of its own, personally. So you could say, she's won on so many different goings, and wow, she just lit them up without even trying, and that's what makes her so freaking impressive. Now, another win in your in that we had for the juvenile turf sprint was the Grade 3 Futurity at Belmont, and this race actually 6 furlongs, even though the juvenile turf sprint is 5. So she's gonna be cutting. Well, let me make sure I'm right on that, because I just want to make sure 100%. But one other thing while I'm looking this up, please discuss for me what also makes a horse like that so dominant in terms of just like, again, we have a young filly taking on males here, and the fortitude it takes mentally to be able to do that. How often do you see that, Matt? You've watched so many races.
Well, you see it from Wesley Ward all the time, right? I mean, he's, I mean, yeah, I mean, we were talking about 2-year-olds that are sprinters in particular. I mean, the fillies can, hey, I'm a big believer that I think the further you go, sometimes you have to be a really special female to run with the males. But I think in the sprint game, and hey, before we I don't know how many years again. I thought in my head, I don't remember when we had the first filly and mare sprint. But most of your audience knows that. I mean, fillies, they couldn't before the filly and mare sprint. Where do they run? The sprint. They won.
Yeah.
I mean, they were, whether it was Desert Stormer, you had Safely Kept, or you had horses like Mia Farah get caught on the wire by Cardmania. I could go on and on. I mean, some of the fastest. Enjoy the Moment comes to mind for me as an unbelievably fast filly, Extra Heat, who hit the board in the sprint. So this is not even doing any research. I'm probably missing.
Oh, look at you. That's how I love it.
No, I'm not. No, I'm probably missing a lot. I mean,
Mama.
so
Mommy.
Hey,
Ava.
Mommy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think in the sprint game, where it's just about speed and you're not going to physically grow out to get that 2-turned whatever. I think that the females can hang even more with the boys than maybe they can going long.
Well,
by and large.
Right. Well, we see, as you said, horses in Europe, taking on each other irrespective of gender all the time. I asked Wesley, I said, you're one of the few trainers here in America that we routinely see you putting your fillies in with the boys. And he made one of the greatest points. It's so simple. A lot of times the fillies, they mature faster than the boys do anyway. So they have, whatever the boys may have in just being a male and having that, that different, physiology to back them up. The fillies can mature at a faster rate, so why not just try it? So,
well, in school, you go to a second grade class, the 7 tallest people are all girls, and then you go back in 6th grade, and it's about the same, boys and girls, and then you go back, 7th, 8th grade, and the boys are taller. I mean, generally, it's the way it works.
Yeah. Oh, and having mentioned Jack Sisterson, Kelly says seems to be a class act. So many good young trainers: Sisterson, Blacker, Cassie, Morley. I could go on. Yes, I agree. They're really awesome people in general. Even we were just talking about racing. Gosh, the dedication it takes. You have to have that type of. You have to have that. You have to have that type of ethic where you're already a good person, a responsible person. To do what you do as a trainer. But yeah, and very excited, by the way, for Norm Cassie and beautiful Gabby to have their first child born very soon. Very soon.
November 7th is the date, I think.
I know. So it's coming up quick. Breeders' Cup, November.
Day after.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so now and yes, I wasn't brain farting. For a second I was just like, okay, wow, yeah, we're gonna have to cut back another half furlong. Yeah, we do, because the juvenile turf sprint is 5. And the Futurity, which is a win and you're in for the juvenile turf sprint, it's at 6 furlongs. Again, run at Belmont Park, grade 3 race. And the track listed as firm. We're gonna go ahead, watch the replay, and then we'll discuss more of the details.
I don't think the favorite breaks very well in here. It's Chi-Town Lady, the 5. See, so that helps everybody when the favorite breaks like that.
Another Ward filly,
right? So the race all of a sudden, as they say, the complexion changed with the bad break.
Yes,
it affects everything even more when it's the horse that is favored to win. And it feels like Joel Rosario, there's like 5 of them, right?
Yeah.
Like he's at like 5 different racetracks at once. Doesn't it feel that way?
It does feel that way. What did he do? Clone himself?
I wonder if Ron Anderson's like, where the hell is he today? Is he at Keeneland or is he at Belmont? Oh, he's at Keeneland.
Racking up those frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, all I know is wherever Ron just told him to go, it's the right move.
Oh, he's going to thread the needle here. Oh. Oh my goodness, look at him come. Oh my goodness. Now he's going to weave back outside of the one.
And here comes Slipstream up to challenge. Run, Curtis, run. Slipstream, run, Curtis, run. It is Slipstream.
Okay, that was impressive. He took heat on the inside like that professionally, I think.
And 1/5 seconds.
Right? I mean.
Yeah, and this is another runner that was.
I'll admit, that's the first time I've seen that replay. I'm pretty impressed that he kept it together and stayed, again, professional.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of jockeys that maybe could do that, make that move that Rosario made. He's unreal.
Yeah.
But Christophe Clement, another more than ready. But
and more than ready, I always have to drop this stat. More than ready as a sire, his progeny have racked up more Breeders' Cup wins than any other sire because his progeny have amassed 7 altogether, and we're talking about More Than Real, won the Juvenile Fillies Turf. Pluck, the Juvenile Turf, Regally Ready, the Turf Sprint, Roy H, 2 editions of the Sprint, Rushing Fall, the Juvenile Fillies Turf, and Uni, the Mile in 2019, beating the Bullet.
I believe More Than Ready was Pletcher's first Derby starter. But Slipstream, this horse goes gate to wire at 7 against obviously good competition, maiden special at Belmont, crushes, but not this type of competition. Now you turn back, you get more speed, and you make that move. Rosario, obviously, to make that move, you have to be unbelievably confident. You have to be great at what you do, which he is, and you have to also understand what you're sitting on. So he knew that to make that move, he had to be sitting on a horse that was about to explode, because if he's not exploding, you're right, he cuts right in front of somebody else, but he was able to do it and avoid everyone because he was like a rocket ship at the end of the race. So that was, but again, keep in mind the favorite walked out of the gate.
No, for sure. For sure. She lost all chance at the start. What are you asking for, Ava?
And Woody.
Bluey. She's singing the Bluey.
Bluey. Oh, Bluey's on. She loves that cartoon.
Yeah.
So Slipstream, as you already mentioned, trained by Christophe Clement. This was the 4th start of his career, and you again already went over the fact that he was coming off a 5 1/4 length victory, going 7 furlongs against maiden special weight competition there at Belmont Park. Dylan Davis was aboard that day. Joel had actually ridden this horse 2 starts back over muddy sealed going, sprinting 5 1/2 furlongs at Saratoga. The race had come off the turf in that start, and then his debut. I mean, I always give a horse a mulligan on debut. I mean, he was 5th, well beaten 5th. Sprinting 6th. But yes, that again, very impressive victory there in terms of also the professionalism shown, the mental ability to stay chill. And Jump Sucker Stable is your owner. Christophe Clement, again, trainer, bred by Burleson Farm and McKinsey Bloodstock. And let's see here. As far as the actual official margin goes, it was a length victory. Final time 108, 36 100, so 108 and 1. And the buyer came back an 80. For you buyer fans out there, there's so many figures now: Thoroughgraph, Ragazine, Time Form, buyers. I'm just a buyer person. I mean, like, I can appreciate all the other figures too, and I might look at them. I mean, you have equibase figures also. I grew up with the buyer figures.
You said Thoroughgraph, right?
Huh? Yeah.
You said Thoroughgraph,
yeah,
right?
for sure. I mentioned them. Your dad has hung out with Andy Byer.
Yeah, he used to sit in my dad's box summers at Del Mar when I was pretty young. I was probably yes.
I feel like I have
Yeah.
Oh.
What?
It was pretty cool. I was like 18, 19, 20, maybe early 20. I don't remember. It's been a long time. Maybe mid-20s.
Ta-da.
Yeah, I sit at my dad's box with Beyer, Quinn, Roxy Roxborough, people like that. It was pretty cool. I was kind of like this one. Yeah, who does Andy like in this race? But I'd be like, I don't know. He doesn't tell me. He doesn't tell me either.
Oh my gosh. We have one horse left to talk about. Actually, not a win and you're in race, but if we don't talk about this horse, it's just stupid that we wouldn't. But before I do that, and I know we only have so much time before Ava demands all the attention in the world. I know that your other love is baseball. Yeah.
How are the Astros doing?
And Dustin is asking, Matt, thoughts on MLB playoffs if you have time.
6-1 Houston. Okay. I mean, the Astros, if their lineup is unbelievable, and I respect Boston, but I'm not a big believer in luck in baseball at this stage. But the last couple of games, I mean, the freaky, the fluky ground rule double that Kiermaier hit that Tampa should have gone up, but it hit the chest and went over the wall and in right center. That was fluky. I thought there were a couple of calls that were borderline. So I think Houston's going to be good. I think Houston goes to the World Series. I think they're going to be tough. And I'll admit, I'm rooting for the Giants. I'm rooting for the Giants. So I'm hoping it's San Francisco and Houston. That's what I'm hoping for. I think it's a good chance too. It's sort of my head and heart are both kind of saying that.
Okay.
It's good when your heart and your head agree on things.
What is your head and heart saying about, of all the potential juvenile starters in the Breeders' Cup, who has impressed you the most? I'm so boring. I mean, right now I'm like, how can you not be super impressed by Echo Zulu? And again, after what we saw Corniche do so easily in the American Pharoah, it's hard. It's hard to overlook. That doesn't mean we don't try to.
I don't have anything clever either. I mean, I know it doesn't have the luster maybe of, the TVG juvenile and the juvenile fillies, but I mean, Avery Jane. I mean, she counts, right? I mean, that was.
Yeah, she definitely counts. I mean,
I'll put her right. I'll go with her.
Okay, yeah. I was going divisionally, but yeah,
Oh.
And
those races from a gambling standpoint tend to be feast or famine. Like the horse it's usually a heavy favorite, and they either win or don't run at all. And if they don't win, then it's like 80-1. I mean, it seems like the juvenile races to me are home runs or strikeouts in terms of trying to beat a favorite. You might whiff because they win at a decent percentage, but when they lose, it's usually not an 8-1 that seems to win. It seems like it's Peter Urton at 40-1 or something, Champagne Room or whatever, horses like that.
What does she want now? We have one horse to talk about.
Okay, one more horse.
One horse, and then we're gonna wrap up and eat dinner. I'm gonna eat dinner. I think I'm gonna make some Alfredo. What do you think?
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So, as I already said to you, we were actually able to, it's a rare occasion where we can actually go and enjoy racing on site as fans. And we headed over to Keeneland for Saturday's card, had a great time in the Phoenix Room. Awesome. Everybody was great. And people are so kind. There was a woman working there named Rennie, actually, who was so sweet to Ava, brought her pencils, coloring book, made sure she was happy. Everybody was great.
Mommy.
Yes, Ava.
Why
Oh, you're finger painting. Great. Okay. So in any case, we had a great time there, and I knew for sure, because I am a credentialed member of the media, I was going to pick my spots when I wanted to go to the paddock. And so I was like, okay, well, how can I not go to the paddock ahead of the Grade 2 Woodford, presented by TVG, by the way, because Golden Pal's in there, right? And Golden Pal's my boy. I've got him on the wall there. I'm in that winner's circle photo. He, of course, won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, sort of vindicating his damn Lady Shipman, who I already discussed. He was second in the 2015 Turf Sprint. And here he was making his first start since the Nunthorpe Nunthorpe didn't go exactly as, we were hoping, but he did show speed early on, and he just sort of looked like a rocket ship out there, and he just, kind of tired out. Maybe the international travel. I don't know. I don't know what the reason was for just not winning, but horses are not machines, so I'm not going to hold it against him. So in any case, I headed to the paddock because I had to see him in person again. And as I'm walking in there, I hear my name right away, Ren. And I look over, and there's his breeder, Randall Lowe, and his beautiful wife, Brenda. And they actually owned Golden Pal when he won the Breeders' Cup, Juvenile Turf Sprint. But earlier this year, they sold him to Coolmore, and so he'll eventually go stand with his sire, Uncle Mo. Uncle Mo, our 2010 juvenile winner and Eclipse champion 2-year-old male. And so anyway, I go over there and we're watching the horse, do his laps around the tree and get saddled and all that. It was really sweet. I caught a moment of Randy petting him ahead of the race and all that. So it was very special. And Randy's like, hey, come up to our box and watch the race with us. So we all went up there, you, me, Ava, and we watched the race with the Lows. And I'll let you describe that.
Yeah, it was neat. I mean, we got there right before the race, right? I mean, we were there just like a minute or two before, but it's as good a box as there is at Keeneland right there. So it was cool watching a race of this importance with the people that used to bred that particular horse sitting inches from you. And I would think, I've never been in this position, I would think that there's almost, I know everyone's like, Baffert's been asked this question all the time. Do you feel extra pressure? He's like, no, well, I want to be favored. I want, but still at 1-2, it's almost like if you lose, what the heck happened? And if you win, you're supposed to. So I was like, there's a lot of extra pressure when you're this short of a priced favorite.
Yeah. Well, let's watch the race. And you can reminisce a bit more as to what your thoughts were as we were watching it live there.
Well, it seems like when this horse better than I do, but it seems like that when he loses, sometimes he's his own worst enemy. He can be a little quirky. He has all the ability in the world, but he's a little – but I felt really good because he seemed like he was a total pro, right? So he has the ability. He has the speed.
And we have Johnny Velasquez up here.
Right, but right now, he gets the lead again pretty easily without really working that hard. He's just such he's an amazing talent with such innate gate speed. So I was feeling it. Obviously, we're rooting for him, but right now it's kind of like, and I even talked to Brenda right after the race. I'm like, there's about 3 or 4 seconds here. I'm like, oh no. And she's like, yeah, I had about a second or two of that. So, I thought he might have been in trouble here. That's Fire Crow next to him. Fire Crow ends up somehow running second to last in this race. So give Golden Pal credit for putting away a pretty good, I think, Ron Moquette horse. And now it's over. You have a classy horse who's your second choice, an extravagant kid, the 6 horse coming off the pace to get second. But yeah, I was worried probably for about 3 or 4 seconds, but to be able to get the lead like that.
Oh, let's see if we see me running here. I'm running to join the crowd. I might already be there. I might have yes, I'm there. I'm behind Brenda. I can see myself. That's pretty funny. I can see myself.
It's a small winter circle gathering.
Oh my gosh, I was so happy. I could see. That's so funny. This is the first time I've seen this part of the replay. Yay, I was there. Exciting. So in any case, beautiful Golden Pal, winner of the Grade 2 Woodford, presented by TVG. It is on to the Breeders' Cup, where he's going to try to win the race his damn king, just a whisker short of the turf sprint. The turf sprint. And I'm sorry, Scott. I'm sorry. So, okay, just so cool. And I to be able to be invited into the winner's circle, I know you kind of had to hang back with Miss Ava because she was not letting you come along. But it was fine.
There was enough people there. It wasn't like they needed extra people for the photo.
But to be invited along for the ride is so special, and I appreciate it more than words can convey. He's such a tremendously talented horse. He's so beautiful. And as I already went over, another horse who, if you want Breeders' Cup pedigree, well, there you go. You're by Uncle Mo, won the juvenile. You're out of Lady Shipman, nearly won the turf sprint. Her sire, Midshipman, who again did win the juvenile back in 2008, and he a son of Unbridled Song, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in '95. Let's see here. I think he's gonna love Del Mar. I think so too. I think he is. Let's see. I'm making sure I'm not missing anything. Let's read messaging. Yes, I did have the baseball cap, or the Breeders' Cup cap, rather, that they so kindly gave me. I nearly wore it today. I did, but I was like, you know what? I've already worn it during a show. So, yeah. Any final thoughts of anything we've watched, Matt, or anything that you think is notable, or a horse who was not necessarily your winner in any of these races, but one that we should definitely be keeping our eye on?
Oh, wow.
Our eyes, because we have...
I'm trying to go over these. Oh, it's driving me crazy. I have to look it up. What's the? Is it Aloha West? Is that Wayne's horse that was second in the Phoenix? Let me look it up. Because that was opening day, right? This will only take me a second.
Yeah, go ahead. You look it up.
The results. Yeah, because as I talked about earlier, I thought speed was really good. I don't know what this horse is going to do. So I could Wayne something I know pretty well, but Special Reserve was 6-5, and basically, I mean, technically, he was second for basically went gate to wire over a speed favoring racetrack. Aloha West was at the back of the pack. I love the way he finished, and this is a horse who keeps ascending. I think that the number for the Phoenix was pretty good. I'm not 100% sure, but that's a horse I thought ran kind of sneaky good who didn't win. I mean, I know he was only beating a neck and he did finish second. He had all the late money too. He went at 8-5. I think he was like 5-2, 3-1, 7-2 most of the betting period. I love the way that horse finished against what I thought was a pretty pronounced front running bias.
See, this is what I come to you. This is what I come to you. Like, I love that you take note of stuff like this, and you're bringing the bias game into the mix, but with a critical assessment, and not just to throw out the word. I think sometimes people throw that word out too easily.
Because he was moving too. I mean, Special Reserve is a very good racehorse, and he was moving at the end of that race, and came up, this much short, or that much short, I guess.
So I was a little bit concerned when we were doing the show, since the playoffs are going on, that maybe our viewership would suffer. But like I said,
I forgot to retweet the show. I forgot that.
Come
on, I always forget.
It's okay. But people can rewatch this because it does record into YouTube and on the other social media platforms. So it is there in perpetuity, or until at least unless the internet implodes.
There I am.
Right?
This is kind of bizarre. I'm retweeting it as I'm looking
at yourself.
Yeah.
So, but we actually held all right number wise. And any final thoughts, period, about your baseball?
About my baseball?
About your baseball. Like, what's the score right now?
It's 7-1 Houston. I mean, it looks like the White Sox have a great lineup.
And you just want them to redeem themselves, right? Is that like part of your rooting factor? You're like, yeah.
Well, my parents are from Houston, to be honest with you. My dad, my parents watch every game, and they're big fans. I was at Minute Maid a couple of weeks ago. So I think did they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar? Yes. I'm not defending it. I do think they're not alone in that. And I do think that it's they have proven that they're pretty good. Yeah. Despite that, with what they've done since. So, and it looks like they're going to the ALCS. So, and I think it's a mistake. The fans of Chicago are all over. Every time Altuve comes up, they're going crazy. It's like, I was like, dudes, folks, it's only fueling them. I mean, it's like, certain group of guys that I think kind of like being the villains to a certain extent. I think they're playing off that a bit.
Well, the thing that I remember regarding Altuve also is just like I like when you
Like your height, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I like when you see people who you necessarily, if you saw him playing closed out, doing whatever, you want to be like, oh, star athlete. Like I like that he don't judge a book by its cover because he's obviously a tremendous athlete.
He's a monster.
Great things come in small packages. I'm like 5 foot.
No, he's a great story too. How he made the team. Though I'm not going to bore everybody with that too, but. I mean,
you want to give it real quick.
Well, I mean, I just know how he's a Hall of Famer, right? I mean, he's been in the league, I don't know, 10, 12 years. I don't think there's been a player who has more hits since he's been in the league than him. I don't think.
Is she still in her costume, by the way?
Yeah, but he showed up at like Astros spring training. No one even knew who the hell he was. I mean, I think I think I don't know if it was Hinch or whether the man. People looked at him and go, "What?" I mean, it was this little kid who's here right now. I mean, literally this tiny little guy who looks like he's about 12, probably at the time, and he would like just crush. And they go, "God, we got to invite this kid back." And he'd come back, and he did that over and over and over again. They're like, "We have to give this guy a spot on the roster." That's kind of how he made the team. It's pretty neat.
Oh, she's hitting you. You should show people how cute she is. Ava.
Mommy, ta-da!
Ta-da. Do ta-da as your daddy picks you up. Ta-da. So her costume came in, but she does not want to wait to, or hasn't wanted to wait to wear it. So she's been wearing it off and on for the past couple of days.
Aren't you hot?
You would think Spider Girl. And you know what? I kid you not, but the other day when she had the costume on, she said, "Mommy," I promise she said this. I'm not making it up. She goes, "I'm going to save everyone. I'm going to save the world." And I thought, gosh, don't let your heart change, baby. Don't let your heart change, because what a tremendous one it is. Yay. So, okay, this is your recap. And Kelly, thank you so much. That's super sweet. I really do appreciate that. And yes, Daddy's girl. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So guys, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This is basically, I know we had the Belmont race also, but it was basically from Fall Stars weekend at Keeneland to looking forward to Future Stars Friday at Del Mar. We've got one more win and you're in race pointed toward that Future Stars Friday card. And I'm talking about the JP Morgan Chase Jessamine. It is going to be a win and you're in for the Juvenile Phillies turf. And it is tomorrow there at Keeneland. I don't know if you have a pick. If you don't, no pressure. I'm not going to ask you.
No, I don't.
Give one. Okay. No worries. But in any case, that is our final win. I hope you had fun with
Mommy, Daddy, what my favorite?
Okay, we'll check you here next week.
Bye.
Bye.